in your life or the
Exactly.
destruction, hey, you're going to keep going around in that circle. And like we were talking about,
Yes.
we've been saying for since September 7th when we opened up this thing, we were talking about bullying. We're going to give you that definition again about bullying and the signs, and then how bullying segued into being a abuser or being abused. So, Central, can you give us a meaning again of bullying and give us some pointers of signs that we can, our people can look at that would let them know if their family members or themselves are being bullied, and then the domestic, the bullying hotline number.
Absolutely. We said at the top of this discussion that in the literature, which was confirmed by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, that there are certain signs. Bullying, oftentimes, it is social, it's group, like we call it the mean girls.
Right.
It is continual. It doesn't happen just one time. The bully finds a victim and that they come back and forth to that victim. Also, the bully, oftentimes it's a bully victim situation going on with one individual. They didn't have control over here, so they were bullied, and so now I can control it and bully somebody else. Some of the signs are, and these are not just for children because we know adults can be bullied. If you see someone changing their appetite, they're not eating, they're sleeping all the time, there could be some sort of depression going on. They're really just turning into themselves and shutting out the world. They're not exposing what's going on. There are some signs there that you need to look further. One of the things that I want to stress, if I can, with parents, if your children come to you and say that they are being bullied, do not make it seem like it's their fault. And this could apply to an adult. They are not in the wrong. So if you see any of this occurring, I would just implore you to provide the hotline number, which is 800-273-TALK or 800-273-8255 for resources to help your situation.
Yeah, and like she said, I know I shared last week that how um, I was a bully. I wasn't the one that went out and found people to bully, but I was aggressive, and it was just my way of protecting myself, just like with Kasha, what she said she did with the whole bullying, and how we all were victims of some things that we weren't so excited about, we weren't cheerleaders about, but we didn't know how to, deal with them at that time. So we dealt
Right.
with them with the best way we knew how,
Game of bullying.
and
Yeah.
with violence. And so I want to talk to you guys about domestic violence. And we gave the definition last week of what domestic violence is, and that is somebody that has any aggressive behavior to a person, whether it's physical, mental, and you guys, there is such thing as mental abuse. It is, and that's
Right.
worse
Yeah.
than physical, because mental sticks with you.
Longer
Physical you can
lasting.
heal, from. And we talked about just a little bit of signs, and I did talk to someone off the air, and they said that they did not know. How do you know if you're being bullied? And it may sound like a crazy question.
It's a valid question. It
Absolutely.
actually speaks to one not listening and or honing in on that inner voice within themselves. If you're not taught how to teach people how to treat you,
Absolutely.
then you begin to accept whatever treatment is brought your way and you mistake attention for affection.
Mm.
And oftentimes that's where you end up lost and you find yourself seeking attention instead of affection. And before you know it, you're caught in this vicious cycle
Yes.
of not only not standing in your truth, but not knowing what the hell your truth is.
Exactly.
Who am I? Why do I
That's
matter?
right.
Why does it matter? Does anyone care? And when you look at the world and the state that it's in right now, it's even harder to sometimes hear that voice with so much going on from 45 on down. It's just overwhelming. And so it's important to teach our children and our people to learn to listen to that voice and trust that you matter from day one. That's a hard lesson to learn sometimes.
Exactly, and you got to be able to know that it's okay to talk about it. I know, and
Absolutely.
we talk about, and I can't talk about any other nationalities but the black family because that's what I am.
Yes.
It is, you can't talk about it. It's something that you have to, it's taboo. Whether you've been sexually molested, and that's a lot going on. People don't think that it's something that hasn't been happening. It's happening every day. It's some trifling mess going on out there. And we can't keep letting this stuff happen and then go in a corner and be quiet. The only times we want to speak out is when it's done from somebody else. But we've got to talk about when it's happening in the home and in internally and in the families. And we'll come back. We're going to get right on into domestic violence. We're going to get into those tough areas. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Destiny Talk Live.
We're more connected than ever before. 90% of America's students use some form of social media, but not all of it's used in a good way. Hurtful posts online are leading to social isolation for many. Psychologists say it's bullying in a brand new way. Well, Beyond Differences and I Keep Safe are looking to change that with ideas for students, their parents, and even teachers. Take the pledge to be kind online and learn more at wearekindonline.com.
Uncle Dan? Mom? Dad? If you store your guns properly, so not just anyone can get to them. I'll feel safer when I'm playing outside. Safer when walking home.
Safer when my friends come over. As your neighbor, I'll feel safer.
As a school teacher, I'll feel safer.
We'll all feel safer.
Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. If you own a gun, you have a full-time responsibility. When you aren't using it, be sure it can't get into the hands of curious children, troubled teenagers, a thief, or anyone else who might misuse it. Remember, always, lock it up. For more information on firearm storage safety, visit ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
Listen, as a hiring manager, I've got to tell you, the best job candidate isn't always the typical candidate. Sometimes they're a grad of life.
Meet the grads of life. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Sometimes the best candidates aren't the ones you're used to.
Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
Hi, this is Terry Crews, actor, former football player, and father of 5. I'm also an expert on drama. There's the good kind that comes with having a house full of kids, and there's silly drama like the drama around my percolating pectorals. And then there's the drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org.
And lead the drama to actors like me.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ed Council.
Welcome back to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G. This is the time of the show where I want you guys to know that you're always on my mind, that we don't forget about you. And we want to, again, send special prayers out to everybody that's going through some heartaches and hard times right now, that if you are still suffering from all of the tragedies of the hurricanes and so forth, Puerto Rico, the islands, Texas, and in Florida, you are in our hearts, and we're out there praying for you. I also had someone send me a prayer request, and it's actually a family member. We call him Cookie affectionately, and he is in Alabama. I want you guys just really to keep him in your prayers. These last few months have been really rough for him. We just found out that he lost his younger son to who was murdered, and then he had a small heart attack himself, and it's a long road to recovery, and he's not at his 100%, but we want him to know that we love you, that we are all out here praying for you, and we're pulling for you, and that this is the time not to give up, but to stand strong and just keep pushing forward, because your purpose is greater than what you are. So do not let these circumstances take you from being where you need to be. As we are talking about this, it just segues in back to why domestic violence and awareness is so important. I want to throw a fact out there to you ladies, and it really blew my mind when I read it, and it's from the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence. I'm going to tell you what they said domestic violence is, because I want to read it again, and then I'm going to give you a fact. It said domestic violence is the willful intimidation, physical assault, battery, sexual assault, and other abusive behavior as part of a systematic pattern of power and control perpetrated by one intimate partner against the other. It includes physical violence, sexual violence, threats, and emotional physical abuse. The frequency and severity of domestic violence varies dramatically. Did you know, guys, that in the United States, 20 people are physically abused by an intimate partner every minute? That equates to more than 10 million abuse victims annually. It also said that 1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 men have been physically abused by an intimate partner. Those are some very alarming stats and statistics. And you got, I don't know if they've experienced any
I don't know.
violence or abuse, but you got 2 over here that.
Yeah, definitely have. I think that as an HR director, I completely understand